This is the top story that Pakistan has responded to the joint declaration against terror issued at the Brics summit yesterday, in which not just one but two regional groups came together supporting India and the war on terror, completely isolating Pakistan. And Rattle Pakistan has retaliated, and how?
Terrorism has become his favorite child. And the child in turn has come to define the essential character and nature of its parents. The time for condemning the state-sponsored terrorism is long gone. It is time to stand up and act boldly. To those who nurture the philosophy of terror and seek to de-humanize mankind, we must send a clear message to mend their ways or be isolated in the civilized world.
Pakistani Foreign Affairs Minister Sartaj Aziz has reacted to Prime Minister Modi's words, saying that he had misled the world leaders with his statements on terror emanating from Pakistan. Accusing India of terror financing, Aziz has added that India has no moral ground to even talk about counter-terrorism efforts, let alone do the finger-pointing. The BRIC and BIMSTEC leaders, however, seem to have a different opinion. Leaders of the two regional groups came together offering support for a united war on terror.
We sympathize wholly with the people of India with regard to the terrorist acts that took place in Uri not so long ago.
As a responsible member of the global community, Bangladesh maintains zero tolerance to any act of terrorism or violent extremism. We must join hands to deal with terrorism and violent extremism.
It is vital that countries and regional organizations cooperate to find solutions and innovative ways to address objectives which BIMSTEC has also identified as being core priorities.
India's sentiments on the war on terror has been backed by leaders of both the BRICS and BIMSTEC nations.
We strongly condemn terrorism in all its forms and manifestations. I emphasize that Sri Lanka is firmly committed to join all efforts to combat this global menace.
We must collectively fight against the threat of terrorism in all its forms and manifestations, human and drug trafficking and other transnational crimes.
Terrorism remains a grave threat to global peace, security and stability. Most countries gathered here have not been spared by this scourge. And we are here at a time when our host, India, has over the past several months suffered frequent terrorist attacks. Bhutan strongly condemns these terror attacks, and Bhutan stands in solidarity with India and all like-minded countries in the fight against terrorism.
Pakistan continues to seethe as it faces increasing isolation both on the diplomatic and cooperative fronts. Bureau Report, India Today.
And alongside BRICS, there was another meet that happened, which was of BIMSTEC, and it was a surprise entry of the Prime Minister when there was a bilateral meet between China and Nepal. When the Chinese and Nepalese leadership were discussing key issues, it was the Prime Minister's turn to make a surprise visit, which has also pushed India's stand further as a key player that cannot be ignored in the South Asian continent. Take a look.
An unannounced meeting of an extremely interesting trio. Prime Minister Modi dropping by for a chat while Chinese President Xi Jinping and Nepalese Prime Minister Prachand were interacting. Sources say it was not a formal trilateral meeting, but even then it lasted for a good 20 minutes.
So it was just entirely coincidental that in the leaders' lounge all three were present at the same time. The meeting, as I said, the bilateral between Nepal and China had already ended.
The meeting took place at the Leaders' Lounge at the Brics Summit venue in Goa. Reports suggest that Prachand told the two leaders that even though his country is located between two Asian giants, India and China, a prosperous Nepal is possible with their help and cooperation.
The India-Nepal-China relations have seen some major complications over the last couple of years. KP Oli, who was the predecessor of Prachanda, and his obvious China tilt had irked New Delhi, especially during the Madhesi blockade period. After that, Prachanda tried to soothe the ruffled feathers in New Delhi, but that upset Beijing so much so that the Chinese President Xi Jinping cancelled his proposed visit to Kathmandu when Prachanda decided that his first foreign visit after taking over the reins of Kathmandu would be to New Delhi.
To placate the dragons, Prachand had already planned a meeting with Xi in Goa on the sidelines of the Brics Summit. And so the third-party intervention seems to be an interesting twist to the already tricky three-war relationship. With Gaurav Sawant, Maha Siddiqui in Goa, Bureau Report, India Today.